Hey everybody, today I wanted to walk you through the next Illustrator tutorial. This tutorial is about using text, and hopefully it'll help you some with the assignment one, the text-based poster project, and give you a little more familiarity with using text in Illustrator. So let's get to it. Here I've opened Illustrator. I made my cursor a lot bigger on my screen. Hopefully you all can see it better. In this title screen for Illustrator, we have this Learn item here on the left. And that gives you a lot of these tutorials that you can do even after class is done to continue your learning about Illustrator and vector graphics. What I want us to do is to go under Help and Tutorials, and the Discover window opens. We have a whole bunch of tutorials here that you can do in Illustrator. You can search by skill level. Let's go with beginner in our case. And I happen to know the title of the tutorial I want. That's Get Started with Text. So I'll click on that. And here it is. Get Started with Text, hands-on tutorial, 5 minutes. Hopefully it'll take you a little longer than 5 minutes to complete this, but I want you all to have the opportunity to use some of these text tools. So I clicked on Get Started with Text, and I'll click Start Tutorial. The tutorial has 7 steps and says, let's start by adding an event heading to this poster. Select the Type tool in the toolbar. That's this one marked with a T, Type. I clicked on it. Click in the empty area toward the top of the poster to add a little placeholder text. Okay, so this is our entire poster, but to make sure, let's choose View, Fit All in Window. All right, yes, that's the entire poster. So I'll click my cursor up there in that empty area. The placeholder text starts with lorem ipsum and is already selected. So because I clicked in that empty area with the Type tool, it dropped in this dummy or placeholder text called lorem ipsum. That lorem ipsum is a design convention. If someone says lorem ipsum to you, what they mean is placeholder text. And so to replace that, I'll type Jazz Festival. It says here, when you add text by clicking, you create point type. It's perfect for creating a small amount of text like a heading. What point type is, like it said, is good for short lengths of text, like a heading, like this title here, because now I can click on my selector tool, and drag this text area around and make it bigger or smaller as needed to fit my design. That's point text. We'll get into the next kind of text here in a second. I'll click Next. This is what I just did. I clicked on the selection tool, and I clicked on the bounding box, this blue box here around it. If I press the Shift key, it enlarges or shrinks the text proportionally. It keeps it proportional. If I don't do that, it'll do what we saw before. It'll make it bigger and smaller and squeezed and all of that kind of stuff. So I'll just kind of drag this out this way, holding my Shift key to make it proportional. That looks pretty good. We'll leave it there. I'll click Next. Step 3, adding a paragraph of text. You can also create multiple lines of text like a paragraph without pressing the Return key. So for this step, we'll add event details. Again, we'll select the Type tool by clicking T on the keyboard, or selecting T, clicking T over here on the menu. And what we do to create a paragraph block of text, if we just clicked, it would be point text. Now I want to create a paragraph block of text. And so I'll click and hold, something like this. Now you see it's dropped in a whole bunch of lorem ipsum text to hold that text place, just to give us an idea of what text will look like in that spot. Often when we're designing things, we don't really have the written part yet, right? Our copywriter might not have given us the confirmed text, but we need to move ahead with our design. So we drop in dummy or placeholder or lorem ipsum text so that we can get an idea of how the text looks on the page. once again, I'll click on the selection tool and show you, because this is area or paragraph text, you can see how it flows depending on how I resize the box. So I'll do this. Typically, you wouldn't want one word on a line. You wouldn't want, right here, we have a single word left over. This is called an orphan. So what we actually want to do, because I clicked in the box, it's now shifted to the type tool. And if I'm on the type tool and I press the V key to go back to my selection tool, remember the V key is the keyboard shortcut. But if I have the text selected and I press V, then it gives me the letter V. So I'll press Command Z to undo that. And in this case, come over here with my cursor and click on the selection tool to change this. Next step, adding your own text. Now I will replace the paragraph of placeholder text with my own. I'll come in here. You see I have my selection tool still, but when I come in here and double click in the text, it'll select the text. But in fact, I just realized I do still have this orphan here. So I'll click the selector, click on my area text box, and just spread it out a little bit there. I'm clicking and dragging that box just to line it up the way that I like it visually. Now, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and double click in the paragraph text to select all of it. Now I'll type June 28th to July 13th. Press return to make a new paragraph and type Shoreline Park, Ocean View. Be sure to register on our website. So you can see here that, well, I have a typo. As I typed, the text wrapped automatically as I reached the edge of the paragraph or area text box. Next step. To format the text, we can use any of those options that we've been talking about. I double clicked in here to select this line. Over here in the properties window, I can change the fill color of the text. I can change its stroke, opacity, the characters. I can change the font size, which seems like a good thing to do here, considering the date is one of those important questions we asked. When? It tells us when this is happening. I'll make that 24 points. And then I'll go ahead and select this other text. 24 points is twice as big as 12 points. But I want the location and then some details, direction, really. Be sure to register, it says right here. That's something we want people to do. So this needs to be a little bigger and attract more attention. I'll select all of this text and change it up to about 18 points, maybe even 20. 18 looks better, and I'll go ahead and delete my extra text. The tutorial may cover this in the following step, but I want to point out this plus to you. What this plus means when it appears, that means there is more text than we can see in the box. So I'll just delete that. And now I have all of the texts in the box. You can see the little red square is gone. So there we go. Okay, I'll click next. Well, before we do this, I want to come in here and where it says, be sure to register on our website, I want to change that text to make it, like I said, more attention getting. I can make the font a little bigger by pressing the up arrow, not the down arrow. 1920. Maybe I'll right align it to see how that might look. Even give it another line break. Can I make it centered? Centering especially is not great when you're using periods and grammatical marks. Yeah, I can't do centering. I can't do centering. So left aligned, be sure to register. The reason I'm here doing this is because, like I said, I don't like to leave one word on the bottom. You should never do that. Be sure to register on our website. I think that looks okay. I'll live with that. I've now got the text fussily arranged, but we need to be fussy when we're making these graphic design pieces for people to look at. But now I've zoomed in some, so I kind of don't have the whole thing on my screen. So I'll choose View and Fit All in Window again. Okay. And we're going to try to change up this font and make it look a little jazzier, jazz it up. So I'll come up here and click on the Jazz Festival text. You can see my cursor's changed to this text icon. If I come out here, I'm still on the text thing, but it's telling me I'll make a text area, right? And then we have this one, which is the selector tool. Back to text. So over here under properties and character, I can click next to Myriad Pro and see some other options that I have. Let's drag the tutorial window out of the way. The ones that show up as squares are ones that I don't have installed on my computer, or that my computer can't read, so don't worry about those. When we come over here in the character menu, you can just scroll around and see which font you might like to use with it. None of these are really getting me excited, so what I'll do is choose Find More. And what this does is takes me to the Adobe Creative Cloud catalog of fonts. And I can install any of these by clicking the cloud here. And I kind of like this one, but so I'm going to download it. I clicked on the cloud with the arrow, activate this font, okay. And now I have that font downloaded to my computer, and so I can use it anytime. About this one? No. Well, you see what I mean. There are tons and tons of fonts. Let's filter out. Jazz has flowing elements, so we'll choose the flowing scripts, right? To match what I think of as the graphically match the feeling of the music. I like the idea of using the handwriting because that feels a little more free and jazz-like, right? People have a little more flair with their handwriting than they might printing. That's nice looking. I still like Above the Beyond. That's what I'm going to use. I click on the arrow to install it, activate the font. Okay. Yes, this is the one I want. Above the Beyond script. It's too big for my design now, so I have to make it smaller again. 72 points. Start there. I'll click the selector tool and move it over. I like that. Looks nice. One of the other ways that I can kind of mess with this is change the kerning, the space between the letters. And so if I want to, I think these letters are a little tight. And so I'm going to change the kerning between them. I'll click on the down arrow over here, or tracking rather, between these characters. This is the kerning between individual letters. And then the tracking is what the space between all of the letters. Right. And so I want to just kind of stretch it out a little bit. But with cursive, I still want the lines to be able to intersect. So I think that's about as big as I'm going to get it. Some of these characteristics of the font that I chose, I might have to say, oh, well, I think I need to go back and choose a different font. But for our purposes here, I'm going to leave it as that. We can also change the color of the text. It looks like I can choose this one to make it match the snare drum here. Oh, that looks nice. Let's go to the next step. Changing the text color we just did by changing the fill, and then you would press the escape key twice is another way to get out of that. So we've completed the steps of the tutorial, but let's take this a step further. I need to leave the Discover window open because Adobe only allows you to use this image in the tutorial. So I want to make a few more adjustments to my text here. I'll come back into the T tool, click on June 28th to July 13th, and I will change the color of that text, maybe to this orange like the trumpet. Well, we can't use that, right? Because it blends in with the color behind it. So let's try this drum color again. That looks pretty good. And I want to move this text maybe over here and down a little bit so it won't interfere with my cool font that says Jazz Festival. Some other changes, we can explore the rest of many more of those changes that we could make here. The alignment I showed you, the space between lines in this text here. So for example, I've clicked these next 3 lines and I can change that, what's called leading between them. So you see how I can change how much space is between lines of text. And here's where we change our font size. We might think about making this an exclamation point. Be sure to register. We might make this text here, that the word sure, we might change that to be maybe italic. by clicking here on the style under the character. Notice that there is no website listed on this flyer. So we really should put in a website. So I'm going to click return and say www, jazzfestival.org. And then to make it relate to that other word, maybe I make it semi-bold italic. And I'll center that line of text and set it off from the text above it by changing just that line height, maybe to 24. I even set it here right on the edge of the piano, so that's great. Let's make this get a little more attention, all right? I'll change it to, we don't want to have too many fonts, so I'll go back with the sans serif, maybe this one. That's Arial, which is a pretty standard font. We haven't used any strokes, but we could. I'll just go up by 1 on this one there. The color that's stroking those letters now is this orange color from between the piano keys. And you could make it thicker if you like. Oops. Have to have it selected. Right. And now the stroke has overpowered the letters. So let's go back down on that. Oh, right. Remember, we have to have it selected. I'll just turn the stroke off. I don't like it anymore. There we go. Oh, I changed my color though. I want my color to be this one. Can't see that. So now we have in this flyer our neat visual graphic design. We have what it is. We have when it is. We have where it is. We have what to do for the audience and how to do it by going to the jazzfestival.org website. And those have answered most of our questions. This is a text-based design, right? You could use something like this in your text-based design assignment. Now that we've done completely with this flyer here and adding the text, feel free to push it as far as you like. But when you're done, choose File, Save As, save on your computer, name it Text Tutorial, and your last name. For your format, you'll choose Adobe PDF, save it on your computer. This is all fine, save PDF. And then I will take that PDF file and upload it to our Blackboard course to this tutorial assignment, which I'll feature in the announcements, and I'll put it in the week 4 folder under lessons and into all graded assignments. So I hope that helps. If you have any more questions, I'm J.A. Parker at atlantatech.edu. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.